Hey everybody, this is First Warning Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich again. This is your midday update. We've got a lot going on. There are so many colors on the map right now that it almost seems hard to read. But I'm going to try to explain what all these things are. The first thing you're going to notice, we got this big gray circle. That's that upgrade watch or the upgrade discussion that we talked about from the Storm Prediction Center. They're going to upgrade this entire region to a moderate risk. The main threat is going to be straight line winds, but embedded in these lines of straight line winds, we could have what we call line echo wave pattern tornadoes. These are essentially little squiggles in the line that develop, and you get these quick spin-ups of tornadoes. So tornadoes certainly still a risk today, especially with the amount of shear, but I think the larger amount of damage today will likely be straight line wind damage. I'll turn those off. You can see the tornado watches, which are these pink boxes. They extend from Maryland, the D.C. area, the Delmarva Peninsula, down through Virginia, and most of North Carolina, central North Carolina, I should say, into the Piedmont. They did add Anson and Stanley County to Richmond County, so they extended it a little bit back to the west. And there's a good chance, this mesoscale discussion, that orange circle there, that they may add another watch. I think that will likely be a severe thunderstorm watch. I'm not entirely sold that they're going to add a tornado watch to it, but you can see we've got a pretty nasty line. And this is what I'm talking about. When you talk about line echo wave pattern, this thing is not straight. This thing is just a little bunch of squiggles in it. So along these squiggles, sometimes you get little spin-ups. In fact, when we look at first warn Doppler radar, on the right, you see our regular reflectivity out of Greenville, Spartanburg. On the left, you see the wind field. So up in Newton, in Hickory, the Maiden area, you notice you got a straight line, but embedded in here, we've got a couple little pockets of stronger winds in here. And this is what I'll watch carefully for any little spin-ups as this moves east. I'm going to loop this a couple of times, and you'll get a good view of how all this is progressing to the east. So very, very heavy rain with these in a short period of time. I've just got a tweet and an update from my friends up at Burke Weather. Avery County schools are closing at 12 o'clock for the elementary schools, and I believe 12:30 for the middle and high schools due to flooding up there. It's been a long night and a long day of flooding in the mountains. That's going to continue for about another 6 or 7 hours. For the Piedmont, flooding is going to continue to be a threat, but also straight line winds, and we still cannot rule out a quick spin up of a tornado. We're not talking about big tornadoes here. We're talking about quick little spin ups, very similar to what you would get in a tropical system. The good news is after 6 o'clock tonight, I think probably closer to 7, you see this main line. Once it moves through, we actually should see some rather dramatic improvement. I'll let this loop a couple of times, and you'll kind of get an idea of how this whole thing is progressing to the east as this loads all of these different products into my memory here on my machine. You'll get a good view of how things are developing. We've got this little squiggle down here in parts of Alabama and Georgia. That's a little short wave that's going to sync up with the long wave trough and enhance the trough. These troughs are just big dips in the jet stream level, and this is what helps lift the air, creates all the rain, and creates wind shear, because at the surface the winds are coming out of the southeast. Up aloft, we got winds coming from the south and southwest, and then occasionally from the west. So that spinning with height, if you get a storm to build up and be as tall as that wind shear, then that whole updraft can start to spin or rotate, what we call a mesocyclone. So that's something we're watching. Still heavy rain. Everybody will be impacted, but the good news is later this evening, I really think after 7 o'clock for the Piedmont, things will improve. In the mountains, we may see lingering showers and drizzle overnight because of northwest flow, but I'll keep an eye on things throughout the afternoon. I'm going to be heading into work here shortly. Right now, the only watch we have up is for Anson, Stanley, and Richmond County till 5 o'clock. Flash flood warning is still in effect for Avery County up here. That is in effect till 4 o'clock this afternoon. I'll see you on TV at 4 o'clock. Until then, you can hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. wxbrad. Make sure your friends are following me. It's the best way to get weather information on the go, 24/7. It's always updated with watches and warnings and continuous coverage of severe weather throughout the day, night, and even overnight. I'll see you starting at 4.